What up? What's going on, YouTube? Been trying to get some shit done for a while and it's just not happening, and I'm finally learning to just use the car the way I bought it and intended to use it. It's just, when I bought the car, we didn't really get off to a great start. We got moving for all of about 2 or 3 weeks, and then everybody slowed us down and set us back, and so that offset my getting used to even having the car again of my own and all that in the 21st century with 21st century gadgets. I mean, I was kind of learning that with the rental system, but like for years I drove beaters. That was my style. So in having upgraded to more modern technology has come the learning curve of using the technology and then also integrating it into my survival strategy lifestyle that I cooked up years ago. A lot of it is built off of the backpack and a bank account type of mental framework, but there's also like guiding philosophy that goes along with it, and like different types of training that I've had over the years. And actually I've recently come across the Gateway program again, which has been pretty cool. It's already day 2 has passed since I first did day 1, and I didn't get day 2. But we were on to day 3, technically have not gone to sleep during day 2. But the other piece of it is also that I've been working Roger's program for a while, and I'm close to the end, right? Except that I've been reverting back to day 21 to refocus that. But I've been getting better at understanding I need to like move on to the next day, and yes, keep revisiting that, but we got to get on with the rest of the program. I'm only like 4 or 5 days left of that, and it's taken me over a year to do it. Why? Well, because I keep not being able to get into a really smooth rhythm, and that also has to do with a part of the problem that I suspect I'm finally starting to get close to cracking the code on. So in the past, I recorded a video that said, I don't remember what it was titled exactly. Something about schizophrenia, right? And when I went to talk about it, I kind of lost my train of thought and said something real goofy. And I actually posted it, which was also why I started kind of slowing down and acting funny about the way I was posting things online. Because if I'm talking about things, I want to make sure that I'm articulating something that's like actually accurate and worthwhile. The thing I learned about schizophrenia years ago, I learned by reading a book about schizophrenia while I was living things in the psych system and watching it play out in my day-to-day. And a lot of it had to do with learning about dissociative identity disorder as well, and then understanding abuse dynamics within relationships in general, and then understanding them within a family dynamic. There are individual relationships, and then there is the one-to-many relationship also. And so schizophrenia, I can't even believe I'm finally understanding this stuff better. Schizophrenia is essentially like the suppressed aspects of the family dynamics getting projected onto one person. It actually could happen potentially between 2 also, depending on the scenario, I think. But some of what they would say basically is the double bind theory, which when I first learned that seemed to resonate with me a lot. When you set kids up in a dynamic where they feel like they have like conflicting expectations, where they can't win, that can create a real issue in their being able to really like be productive and like have good healthy psychology going on because they don't really ever feel that they're really winning no matter what they do. They're in a double bind. Can't win for losing kind of mentality. If you think that way, you probably at some level have this psychology. But the larger illness of schizophrenia has a lot more to it than just that. The big piece of it being what schizophrenia actually should be thought of, as far as I can tell from all my years of trying to understand this stuff, is a disorder of thought processes. A disorder of thought processes, meaning there are multiple different thought processes, and that they're not it could be like putting the cart before the horse in a lot of situations. It could be not knowing how to accurately extract meaning out of situations. One of the things that it talks about that I remember I had this a little bit more when I was younger was struggling to filter out information that's coming at you in the real time. Certain micro details that you need to just bypass in order to socially function within the environment, but because you're trying to register all the information at once, it like overloads usually the schizophrenic person's prefrontal cortex with more information than it can process at one time, kind of, right? And so those are some of the dynamics as what they call a schizophrenogenic mother. How would they say it? A cold and rejecting mother, and or a cold mother could be the same as just a mother who's not present. Really, if you think about it in terms of what it means, we're talking about in terms of emotional coldness, right? Paired with a passive father. This is kind of the way that I just heard it described in this one video discussing the psychology of it, not the chemistry of it, and not the biology of it, not the genetics of it, the psychology of it. And that's a pretty old school understanding of it. And as I was listening to it, it seemed like the piece that's not really missing, but like that I remembered reading that I haven't been able to find again, partially because when I been trying to listen to that book again, it's been listening to an audio instead of reading it, right? But I had forgotten the disassociative side of it too. And so when you think of it in terms of like a adolescent psychology that's developing, when they're receiving major rejection or major like attacks at them for certain things, the kid is likely to like almost try to disassociate from that, not really like, or like secretly do it, so that then it becomes the big elephant in the room kind of thing. And so it causes a fracturing of the psyche because the child, the adolescent, feels like it can't win or doesn't know what's safe. And or just doesn't know when it's okay to express things truthfully in reality, because of the situation. And in my scenario, largely I would say that this actually is true about me. I grew up my whole life in a double bind. It was almost like my mother's side of the family's expectations of me versus my father's side expectations of me, or something. Almost like diametrically opposed type of situations. By and large, really not even that different when you really get down to it, but still in a way, it's almost total opposites. And that's kind of it, isn't it? Mommy and daddy never could smooth out their points where they diverged or whatever. They never learned to smooth things over in conflict, and Daddy never really became more of an integral part of my family on my mommy's side, and Mommy never became a more integral part of my family on my daddy's side. And so my entire life up until this day has been set up with that double bind in terms of the differences in the ways they do things. See, the two of them, had they stayed together, had to have learned to work through these differences between her family and his family together. They lack the maturity, the communication style, the information, I guess the support. I don't think anybody was really thrilled that either of them were having me show up at a stage when they were so young. So I've already accepted all this a long time ago, so it's not that big a deal to me. I've been in counseling for 25 years at this point. However, there are people in my family who cannot talk about hardly any of what I just said there. And for me, that's like foundational shit. Like, that's not even that big. I didn't really say much in that's that major of a thing or whatever. None of it's a revelation, I don't guess, for me. Most of it's been more so like a rediscovery of some of the pieces of the puzzle I've figured out when I was between the ages of 21 and probably 23, 24, something like that. And managed to slowly integrate, I guess, almost, and build to a point where when I was 27, that was when I stopped drinking. And so some people, especially when you look at my more like success story type stuff, or like starting to kind of get it together type stuff, sobriety was what really, that's like the point you would say I started trying to move toward the better, and actually being better at doing it. And also became a little bit more willing to consider this mental health stuff seriously. But that was because at 27, when I stopped drinking, that was still a jumping off point, and I didn't really know if all the data I had collected and was trying to like filter through in order to build a system, a philosophy, a approach for me that would be durable enough and also work. I didn't know if it was really going to work. I understood that in order to even have the chance to make it work, I would have to actually get sober first with no medication, also in my scenario, to prove the things for myself that I wanted to prove first and foremost for my own satisfaction, because of my whatever way that I did, because of the way I pieced this all together for myself to understand. So then after a minimum of 6 months of sobriety and no mental health medication, then I would potentially be willing to go on medications if it seemed necessary. I actually went years without it. And then from 2014 till 2019, those were the years where I had stopped drinking, no psychiatric medication, no marijuana interference. I was very, not only stable, you would consider me having, especially considering my background, and then my diagnosis, and then knowing how bad it tends to be for a lot of people with a diagnosis like mine. You would rarely tell somebody to take chances the way I did. Although I will say, a counselor did say that it might be good for me to go to Florida for a while, and I do believe he was right. He didn't really tell me come back, don't come back, nothing. He just told me it might be good for you to get out of here for a while. You know, you're getting older, whatever, all that stuff. And so while I was in Florida, that was kind of when I started getting to know Roger Burnley better. And since I wasn't seeing a counselor there, I was seeing coaches and stuff and working on my fitness and learning how to implement that side of the puzzle, which I've fallen out of quite a lot since then. And I've been hit and miss and trying to I really, since COVID, have not managed to get locked that back in. But we're starting to get there again. And part of the reason is because I'm starting to get focused on this again. And or this is going to help me focus on that. And or this is going to help me to stay focused on that and the gym or something. It may even get to the point of moving out of the place I'm staying now, so I have nowhere else to go besides here, right here, where I either look at the phone where I drive my Uber, the phone where I talk to you, and film me either writing or talking to you about being back in the gym and or any of this other stuff, because I'm a breaking point. We're trying to tie this stuff together, because if we're saying that all my life has caused me to splinter, my psychology has become splintered out, and I've given all of this stuff away, all of this me away, and I'm not able to hold on to enough of my time, power, whatever it is that I give away, give myself away, then we are calling it back to me now. I can't keep going on with this split psychology, with these family ruptures where nobody will fucking talk about goddamn anything. I can't do it. I can't do it where I'm expected to act like I'm extremely thankful to a mental health system that largely created a lot of the problems that I deal with now. See, the problems that I dealt with as a child and an adolescent are not the problems I deal with today. And even though some of them are my making, you also have to see the part where the system, for better or worse, taught me how to fairly well manage my issues, but did not teach my family how to have healthier dynamics going on within. And so that makes me incapable of having healthy relationships to some extent with my family, which keeps me sort of trapped in a bubble of being alone, because I do not have much experience of healthier relationships within the family. That then further complicates like friendships, although I do have friendships and relationships of other types. It's just that, so that's where we kind of tend to focus then, is the relationship with self, which is always the starting point. We've been working on that for years, but now we're really getting down to the nitty gritty, because we have been rewriting the psychology for many years, but we're about to go through a season of really digging deep on it in order to be able to finally push through the other side of this, I guess. It's all been building to this for the best of what I can understand. We are in the winter of 2025, November already. A month ago, I was trying to get on my 90-day to my New Year shit. Because not 90-day to my New Year shit, trying to already start living it. Because what I'm trying to live is not that out of line with what I've already been doing for years. It's just a matter of getting it to stay consistent. But the consistent problem isn't the consistent, it's the disordered thinking and not knowing how to come day to day because of the time warp, and the lack, for lack of a better way to put it, the lack of integrity within other people, and then the way that also then shows up within myself. It used to be not as bad with myself, but over years of trying to be more gracious to people and learning to go with the flow, gradually I also started to loosen up with myself. And then as I loosen up with myself, it gets harder then to then get that tightened back up, while also dealing with people who I've pulled into my life who, when I say lack integrity, I don't mean it in like a very vicious way of saying it, but your word means something. It either means something all the time, or it doesn't. Your word has to count. In order for me to take your word seriously, your word cannot have failed me. The minute your word fails me once is enough. I now have to call into question any time else that it requires me to lean on your word. And vice versa. And so this is a lot of what complicates friendships and relationships. But then also is the endurance to patch up things as you go. So anyway, I am going to get working on this, but I just wanted to take a minute and show you the setup, show you what we're working with. We are out here. It is New York. We just had our first real, nothing major, but this is the first official snow of the season here in Otsego County. So I am going to get to work.